saying it that become a sustainable company is very easy, but to achieve it is extremely difficult and challenging. Even if you prepare a strategy, you do everything, but ESG implementation is very tricky job for anyone.
You were saying
One
something.
thing which was extremely challenging to me, and I think the people who are from academic background basically very much relate to it, was to change the mindset of people that teaching people or the professors or the teachers, they can also work in industry. That culture shift or the mindset shift was very difficult for me.
Firstly, thank you so much, Priyanka, for your time and showing up for our podcast, sustainability podcast by Greenmentor. Like before, when I was prepping for this session, I went through your profile and I saw that you have such a varied, bunch of experiences that you've gathered over the course of last, 15 years that you've been working. And yeah, I just wanted to know a little bit more about you, a little bit about your background, and how did you end up working in ESG and sustainability, starting your career as a work in the past. I think you worked as a faculty as well, right? And, you was an engineer. So how did you end up in sustainability is what I want to essentially know, starting from your maybe a little bit of your background, yeah, the entire story of how you arrived at working
Okay.
on ESG and sustainability. Yeah.
So thank you so much for inviting me. I'll start with that. I did my BTech in mechanical engineering from one of the institution in Kanpur. It is based in Kanpur. Name is Pranveer Singh Institute of Technology, PSIT. And I did my mechanical engineering. Post that, I basically joined a company, APC Air System in New Delhi, where I was posted, or my role was to as HVAC project engineer, which is heating, ventilation, and air
Right.
conditioning. So when I was working as a HVAC project engineer, during that time I came to know a lot many criticality of building comfort or occupancy, all these indoor air pollution and rest of the things basically related to building. So it got me, I got interested into the air pollution and then environmental engineering. I started preparing for GATE examination, got sufficient marks to get into National Institute of Technology, Tiruchirappalli, and I took admission in environmental engineering in NIT Trichy, I think in 2013. Then I passed from that college in 2015. I got placed in one of the university which is based in Navi Mumbai, MGM College of Engineering, that is MGM CET. And there I was basically working as a professor. I was formally I was a professor of mechanical engineering department, but since I had
Oh,
a
nice.
master's degree in environmental engineering, so my role was some of the subjects which were given to me were related to environmental engineering, so it was very cross departmental lectureship for me. And during that time
Okay.
actually, yeah, and during that time actually I picked up working as an independent consultant, or you can call it freelancer, because I wanted to bridge the gap of academia or industry. So all the final year projects, or the students who were working with me for the final year projects, I basically wanted to get a industry exposure for them. So that is why I connected with the industries for the and started independent consulting. It was part of the final year project also for my students. And slowly, since I was already working in this consulting, already I was already working for this consulting role. So I think in 2021 I actually took it as a full-time role, and I switched from academia to industry. I started as a in a firm called Vision 360, which is based in New Delhi, which is a purely
Right.
consulting field across various ESG services. Then I moved to one of the company, which is AICL, based in Mumbai, which has a niche in ESG, basically a reporting firm, where their major role is related to providing annual report, sustainability report, all the corporate communication. And then from there, I joined Tech Mahindra, and now I'm in Dubai. So This is how basically my journey is from mechanical engineering to ESG or sustainability.
Right. So, when you were teaching at MGM College here in Mumbai, right?
Navi Mumbai, yes. It is in
Navi Mumbai.
Panvel,
Okay.
Kamote.
Okay. So, when you were teaching as an assistant professor at MGM College, and basically you accidentally happened to come across environment as a subject that you picked up as you moved along. How did it happen? If you can break
Okay,
that down a little bit
so
for me.
since I had a mechanical engineering degree, so I was positioned as a
Right.
professor in mechanical engineering department, but my master's was in
Okay.
environmental engineering, so they wanted me to teach some subjects of environmental. So that is why I started cross departmental lectureship. So environmental engineering
Right.
is a optional subject, or for some of the disciplines it is a mandatory subject. So for example, for civil engineering, environmental engineering is a mandatory subject. For biotechnology, for computer branch, it is a optional subject in fourth year or third year. So whosoever is picking up those classes, then I am the one who is taking the lectures for.
Oh, very interesting. And then you were helping your students with projects. That's how you essentially got in touch with the industries, and then you
Yes,
started getting, and then like people from the industry started hiring you as an independent consultant to
yes.
guide them with their environmental related initiatives, right?
Yes, yeah. So
Very
basically, what
interesting.
I found is that syllabus, even nowadays, also the syllabus in engineering colleges, the syllabus is very, very old. Even in
Right,
2025, they are teaching very old things. What is what is pollution? What is air pollution? What is soil pollution? Very basic things. There is no. So, for example, if you are reading something like that from the academic perspective, getting a job in environmental is very difficult, and mostly for
right,
those who have a civil background but they want to get into environmental field. So if they won't have that
right,
kind of exposure from the academics, they have to do some kind of projects, either life projects or otherwise some kind of projects or some exposure towards industry. Then only they will have a grip of the subject or how to basically implement whatever they are learning. So that is why that was the agenda when I started this. As I told you, I wanted to bridge that gap because whatever they were learning is not quite implementing in the real world. That is very far,
right,
syllabus is very far behind from what is happening in
right,
real.
right, right. So, and you happen to be also in Navi Mumbai, which is like the hub of all the industry, like a lot of industries, right?
Lot of industries, yes,
Which
yeah.
is, so a lot of these companies that you were in touching base with were essentially based out of Mumbai and
No,
around
no,
in
no.
Maharashtra.
No. So I used to reach out to people, and the work which I was doing was virtual work only. So it was not a lot many time I had to visit the client or the company for which we were working. The project we used to take, or the project, for example, if some company is working on a live project of GHG accounting, so I was also part of it, part of that project, and along with my students. So that is how this whole the whole engagement was working.
Got it. Got it. So then you moved on and you started working with with Vision 360, which is a consulting firm based out of uh,
New Delhi.
Delhi.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, New Delhi. So how did that all work out for you? Because I'm asking these questions because a lot of the people who are watching this are probably those who are also trying to navigate their career, right? So like, if you can
Okay.
talk about that process of how did you reach out to those people? How did you identify Vision 360's opportunity in the first place? What were the challenges in getting that role? All of that, if you can throw a little bit more
Yeah.
light on that.
So 2021 was I think was the year when I finally decided to leave the academic job and move towards the industry as a full-time role. It was a personal decision. Due to
Right,
some personal reason, I wanted to switch the industry. So what I did, I started to basically started. focused on upskilling. So whatever the skills which were mandatory, and also the skills which are transferable basically for me, because since I have a degree and I have a I by that time I had some 7-8 years of experience. So I wanted to use that experience as well, and I wanted to upskill myself or
Right.
hone my skills also in the direction where I wanted to go into.
Right.
So what I did
Right.
is, if I want to talk about the blueprint, is something. First thing I did is I looked into a lot many of job descriptions, what kind of roles are there in the market, and what is the roles and responsibility they are looking for, what kind of skills they are looking into. And then I made a list of all the skills which are basically which are in demand, which were in demand at that time in 2021. Out of those skills, I focused on the skills which a were naturally coming to me. For example, since I was working as an independent consultant, I knew that report writing is very natural to me. There was one another reason that before I actually worked as a independent consultant in ESG firm, before that also I have worked as a content writer, content translator. So that is why the content is something which is very coming, which was coming naturally to me, which matlab abhi bhi it comes very naturally to me. So what I did is, out of all the skills, where the list I made of the skills, out of all the skills, I chose the skills which came very naturally to me. The first part, and the second part, where I can upskill, which has more demand in terms of money and in terms of role also. So, for example, if some kind of a skill has more demand, for example, reporting, or otherwise the skills which can help me to earn more money, I made a list of those skills. I gave myself a time of 6 months to upskill myself on those job descriptions or roles and responsibilities. And meanwhile, I started building my LinkedIn profile and my CV. Everything, I started working on it, and then I started reaching out to people. I built a good connection in LinkedIn. I reached out to people. I sent multiple CVs, applied through various platforms, career page, LinkedIn page, reaching to people, or otherwise naukri.com. All these things I done, which everyone is doing. And then slowly I started giving the interview. So my idea is to not fully upskill yourself and then apply. My idea was to upskill yourself some 50, 60, 70%, and then start applying, so that if you'll get a chance to interview, chance for interview, you'll get to know what are the skills what are the things where you are still lacking. So that failure will help you to understand where to push more. So through that, I applied for various roles. I got interviewed for various positions, and then through the interview I got to know where I am lacking. I worked on those points, and then after a certain point of time, and I got into Vision 360. So it was very hit and trial
Got
method.
it.
It wasn't very sorted one.
Right. Which is what it I usually is for most people, right? So it's never like
Yeah.
a straight journey. So
Yes.
I have a question for you. So from the point you decided, okay, I want to get into ESG and sustainability, and you identified your transferable skills, then identified the skills that you need to have depending on the demand in the market, and then acquiring those skills up to say 50% by taking various, I don't know. So how much time did you spend in this entire process from deciding, okay, you want to make the switch to actually making the switch?
It took me a lot much of time. So it actually took me exact 1 year. So I decided in May or June 2021, and the job I got was in May, June 2022. So it took me 1 year. But it happened to me because it was a very uncertain journey for me. No one knew what to do. No one was there to help me out. I didn't have any guidance, and none of my friends were working in this field. For example, it is a very niche skill, right? So even if my friends were working in the
Right,
environmental engineering side, they were working they were working in very pure technical side of it. For example, wastewater management, treatment plants, all these things. So no one was there
Right.
to guide me also what to read, when to read, and how much to, not read. That is also very important, because when you are,
Right.
you have so much of documents which are available in the public domain. So, and also each documents are so big, like 300 pages, 400 pages. You somewhere a get very overwhelmed, and b you somewhere get very lost in between. And when you are reading those
Right.
documents, and when you have certain doubts, you have no one to clear those doubts. So
You have
that
no
was
one
the
to talk
second
to.
part.
Yeah.
So I think because of that, it was a very long journey for me. Because today, if I will give any advice to someone, I have a clear roadmap, or I have a clear pathline, okay, what went wrong in my journey, which took a lot much of time. And that is why I told it was a very hit and trial method. Because I was trying something, and then I was failing into it. Then I understood, okay, I have to, extract these things, and I have to try this and that. So in order to finally understand what will work for you, it will take a lot much of failures also, and lot much of negative things also. So it is never going
Right.
to
Of
be a
course.
very
Yeah.
positive side that, okay, I will do this, and then I'll get a job.
Right. Right. So it was not that clear. You figured it out as you moved along and you
Yeah.
looked at the market very clearly. You did a
Yeah.
few interviews. You understood what are they asking for. Then you picked
Yes.
up on those skills, and that's how you kind of cracked it.
Yeah.
You were saying
One
something.
thing which was extremely challenging to me, and I think the people who are from academic background, they will basically very much relate to it, was to change the mindset of people that teaching people, or the professors or the teachers, they can also work in industry. That was that culture shift, or the mindset shift was very difficult for me. So when I was giving the
Tricky.
interview, the major challenge I was facing, even though I was technically good, I was technically sound, they were not ready to accept me, just because I had a professor or a teaching experience for a longer period of time. So they just by default thought, or people were they were thinking that I won't be able to work in this culture, in industry culture, because I don't know, they think that teacher are only working for 1 2 hours or something. I don't know what exactly was mentioned. But it was very difficult to crack, to penetrate that mindset. So during the interview, I got to know that people are not trusting me only because I have an academic experience. So I had to penetrate
Right.
into that, and for that only I used then transferable skills. I thought, okay, I cannot have all the skills which are very new. I have to choose some of the skills, and I have to you know hone my interview skill also, then how to penetrate to those people that, okay, I can do it, and how to sell yourself, how that I will be able to do it,
Got
don't
it.
worry.
Got it. Right. 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 Very interesting. I think a lot of academia people might be facing this issue. And if anyone
Yes.
from academia is watching this, then please let us know in the comments that if you had a similar issue. But interesting. So yeah, so we also suggest, so like we have a Green Mentor Academy through which we help people transition into sustainability, right? And we need a lot of people who have the right set of skill sets because the demand is constantly increasing. Until
Increasing.
like as we were talking the other day, uh, at least until 2050, this
Yeah.
domain is s- quite safe, right? So from a career
Yes.
standpoint. So a lot of people want to make this transition happen, and we provide an online platform through which people can learn skills like how to do GHG accounting, how to do materiality assessment, how to do life cycle assessment end to end. Because our focus is not the fact that you will be able to like it's not the fact that I want to give you a certificate because certificate a lot of people can provide, a lot of
Yes.
people
Yes.
are already providing. What we really want to do through Academy is to ensure that you really know how to execute
Yes.
uh, end to end. Like if you are doing GHG emissions accounting, you need to do end to end. And you were looking for these jobs back in 2020, so the field was so nascent that like like there were very few people who had this the unique combination of skill set that you had, right? In India,
Yes.
for
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Right now, there are relatively more, So as a
Yes.
result, you need to ensure that you at least know how to do GHG accounting, you at least know how to do materiality if you are applying for those kind of roles, right? So
Correct.
that's one thing. Now we have around 3,000 students who study from us, and we talk to them on a regular basis. And this is
Hmm.
exactly what we tell them, that you need to
Yeah.
first identify the skill sets that you have, like the transferable skill sets that you have,
Hmm.
right? For
Hmm.
that's the often the first step, because
Yeah.
communication is very important for an ESG role. Stakeholder engagement is very important for an ESG role. Project management is very important for an ESG role. So
Yes.
uh, these are skills that you may already have had in a different role that you were doing earlier, right? So your job is to first identify the transferable skills, then understand the gap in your skills. At your time, identifying those gaps was a lot more tougher because nobody knew what
Yes.
kind of jobs you can
Yes.
take up. But right now, it's a little more defined, right? You know that, okay, if you're going in as, say, an analyst or somebody who is an expert in materiality assessment, you know that, okay, you need to have the skill set of conducting a materiality assessment, or you should know the entire process of running a company through a materiality assessment or a double materiality assessment if you're applying for that role. So that's exactly what we also suggest. So yeah, that's amazing. Moving on, then you moved on and you have, I think you worked with Vision 360 for a long time, right?
Yeah.
Almost 3 years, 8 months.
Yeah.
This is generally in today's world not really seen actually. People skip in more than 2 years. Like not more, most people don't stay along for more than 2 years. So what was about the Vision 360 engagement? What kind of exposure were you getting while you were working with within security? What did you learn, and how did it help you in your next step,
Yeah. So
which is
after
PIC?
academia, Vision 360 was a first company I joined as a full-time consultant, and it was a great opportunity for me. I somehow cracked into it. So my role was there. It was a consulting, but having all kind of services. They had all kind of services. There was a reporting, then ESG strategy also, then ISO implementation, and at that time BRSR was a mandatory requirement. It came into the picture for the first time. So BRSR implementation was, or reporting was also, since it was a regulatory reporting, so that was the service they were very much offering to most of the clients, at least for top 10,000, top 1,000 companies. So yeah, that was my role, and including in it includes materiality, GHG calculation. If you're doing GHG accounting, sorry, ESG strategy, then by default you know how to do a peer benchmarking. So your secondary research should be good. How to do gap analysis, reading all the documents, policies, policy preparation. So it was an end-to-end consulting firm. So they will pick you from in the start of your sustainability journey, and then wherever you want to reach the target stage, they will help you till that.
Very interesting. Okay, so through them you basically got the exposure to basically reporting and ISO related
Yes.
compliance and basically the entire spectrum of
Yeah.
a
Actually,
sustainability of a company.
yeah, actually, reporting exposure I already had through my independent consulting, because during the time I was doing the independent consulting, two, three exercises which were very common, which we were getting. First was data analysis to, do the secondary research, get all the data, and then analyze the data and get, coming up with the inferences of the data. So data analysis was the first task. Then second was to do the gap analysis against GRI. And during that time, GRI 20, we were moving from GRI 2016 to 2021 also. So because of that, there was a so much of gap analysis consulting exercises were coming. But during my independent consulting time, the major projects which I got were related to reporting. So reporting was something which I was good at when I joined Vision 360, and that is why I said no. I used my transferable skills because since I was a professor, so I used to training and capacity building skill. I just picked that up and I used it, and I still am using that skill. So wherever I go, that training part or capacity building part, even if it is for the existing team or for the clients, that is something I always do. And then that reporting part is something which when I joined Vision 360, that was the part I already knew. GHG accounting was good when I was only doing scope 1, 2. So from that Vision 360 company, I got to know, or I did actually scope 3 emission as well. Yeah, and then ISO implementation and making a ESG strategy was a very nice exposure for me. Actually, it was very interesting exposure to me because doing
Right.
that, coming up with all those initiatives and then finding out those low hanging fruits, and most importantly, helping clients to build the ESG or sustainability culture, because that is something is very
In the
difficult.
organization.
Yes, it was very
Right.
difficult. So
Right.
even if you prepare a strategy, you do everything, but ESG implementation is the very tricky job for anyone. So ESG manager role is very difficult. Once you are in the system, to make people understand why sustainability is important, to implement those initiatives, and finally, building the culture is extremely difficult and challenging.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So I was in one of the podcasts earlier, I was talking to somebody who was an expert in sustainability communications,
Hmm.
and he basically worked very extensively with different UN organizations,
Hmm.
trying to reframe the conversation around sustainability for certain countries so that they can take action. Like
Hmm.
they get mobilized and they take action. I'm sure in a company's case it's very different, but how do you like? Can you talk about maybe one example, I mean, without naming the company, if that's an issue, the wherein you guys worked on the implementation part and worked on building a culture of sustainability implementation in any of the organization or clients that you previously worked with? If you can
Yeah.
talk a little bit about that, that would be nice.
Yeah. So basically, when you are hired as a ESG manager, or when you are basically, going for the implementation side of an ESG, the first and foremost thing is you start with the ESG governance part, which means preparing policy, preparing procedures, and to convince the board, the management, executive team, basically the higher management people, to you have to convince them that why ESG is needed. Then with the departmental heads or the working groups, to make them understand why, and whatever we are doing, what kind of impact do we have, what kind of ROI we will have. These kind of things basically you have to start with. So this is what ESG governance is. So even if you prepare the policy, but if that is not going to be implemented, then there is no point of having the policy, right? So for that, then you have to you have to do a stakeholder engagement. You have to take a opinion of all the stakeholders. Then there are certain restrictions, a b reservation also from the people side, that why are we doing it, what is needed, we already have so much of work on my plate, why are you adding so much other work, what is this? Or the some of the department heads, they will be very cooperative, okay, I like it, okay, we'll do this. Some of the people, since they already have different agenda on their plate, which are very much related to ROI and financial
Their
from
core
finance,
job, basically.
yeah, the financial point of it, then they are not very much welcoming with the initiatives you are coming up with. So that is why they have so much of restrictions, and also the maybe the workforce is limited. They don't have much people to accommodate this much of work, because it's not a easy task. It's saying it that become a sustainable company is very easy, but to achieve it is totally different, and I'm not even gonna talk about it. So it starts with ESG
Got it.
governance. So if I am saying that to build a ESG culture, is that day by day you have to convince them for each. For example, if you have prepared a ESG committee, you have to go with some agenda, you have to have some kind of initiative, then you have to convince them why these initiatives are important, what will happen with this. And if it is not happening immediately, because it won't happen, then in a some period of time, you will see these kind of good outcomes from these initiatives. So basically, whenever you are speaking to those people, then only after having all these meetings, doing all these stakeholder engagement, and then only you are going to penetrate your thought into their mind. Okay, this is how it is going to be. One important thing I feel in ESG implementation is that you have to have a team on site, because if you are virtually doing it, it is not going to happen. It will be very challenging, because some of the company which are very immature in terms of sustainability only, they are just coming up, it is their first report or something, they don't have data management system, they don't have a basic culture of adopting the sustainability. So if you have a team on site, so simply talking to them, making them understand, and the simple conversations will help them to help you only to implement all those initiatives. Otherwise, people have so many things in
Right.
their plate, and sustainability is not their priority. Yeah.
Right. So as a part of the implementation plan that you guys provided to these organizations, you also said that, okay, the first step is to have a team of people that is leading
we
this in your
always
setup,
Yes, we always
right?
deploy a team of people over there in their system, at least
Okay.
for first year. So for example, if we have prepared a 3 to 5 years of implementation strategy, so for the first year at least we will deploy
Hmm.
a team of people over there who will be building this ESG culture. And then from second year onwards or the third year onwards, once we are sure that that the culture has been built, the policy is there, the implementation is there, and people are now adopting the culture, then we can do it virtually. But for first 2 years, it's very
Right.
crucial, it's very important to have a team deployed over there in the client side.
Got it. What kind of skill sets do these people have, like who are deployed generally in the client side? And is it like an industry practice in general? Like this is how it happens?
It should happen like this. I don't know whether it is an industry practice or not, but it should happen like this. Otherwise, it's very difficult. See, I'll give you an example. If you are preparing a strategy or the implementation plan for a company who have already done 2 3 years of ESG reporting and they have some of the culture, then you can, of course, come in between and you can do it virtually. It doesn't. It might not matter to deploy a team, because they will have their own sustainability people. You have to coordinate with them. There will be so many spokes also, so you can directly catch up with them. But if the company is coming up with their first sustainability report or second sustainability report, they don't have even a spoke there, and you have to struggle with a lot much of data. So then it is advisable, it is recommended to deploy your team over there. Now, having said that, if you're
Got it.
deploying a team of 2 3 people, I feel if the lead is the person who should have the skills of stakeholder engagement, to have the convincing skills, to have the negotiation skills, to have the basically the mostly the soft skills. Then the second part is, of course, a person who is good with reporting, or the content writing part of it, because there will be multiple reports which you will be submitting in between internally also. And if the person knows how to build policy procedures, then it is good to go. Then all these document related skills will be covered from that person. Third person should be the one who can do your data management role. So basically, to build the template, mostly if people are not going for any tool or technology, if it is Excel based data collection, then that person can help you to build the template, to send out the template, to reach out to people, to help them understand what kind of data I need to basically have a entire data ecosystem. Then once the data is there, then to analyze the data, validate the data is very important. So to have a proper evidences for each data, they can create a central repository of evidences, and then that person's responsibility is to validate the data from the evidences, and then finally analyze the data and show up the report to the reporting person. If it is a CSO, then
Right.
to CSO, that what is the monthly progress, who is the stakeholder, at default, or who is lacking, or what is the data source which is missing. All these red flags, they can show up to the CSO or departmental head, whosoever is reporting.
And that gives a lot of clarity, and people who are listening to this, if they are aspiring to get into sustainability, I think it's going to give them a lot of insights of how things actually operate on ground.
Yeah.
Then you went on to work with AICL, helping them with their ESG reporting and communications.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe if you can throw a little bit of your sunlight on the time that you spent at AICL.
Yeah, so AICL is basically a reporting firm, basically a communication firm based out of Mumbai, Andheri. I joined their ESG team. So they used to do annual reports, all other ESG communication like websites, investor presentations, everything. And then they started with integrated report and ESG report because of the demand. So when I joined their team, my role, now I have picked up even one niche from the entire bucket of ESG skills, which was reporting. So here what I learned, or what was different from my previous experience of reporting, was the creative side of report, like how to design the report and why it is very important, what kind of thought process should be there for the designing purpose, how the look and feel of report are gonna change the perspective of the reader. And when you are
Right,
preparing a report from the reader perspective, it can be any stakeholder, what kind of things should be highlighted more in terms of the stakeholder is something. Basically, how to emphasize on the value creation from the report is something I learned from there. It was a very creative perspective and I liked it very much. So technically, in accordance with GRI or with reference to GRI or even any other frameworks like SAS, BT, I was well acquainted with that kind of skill set,
right.
technicality of it. But the creative part of it
Mm,
is something I learned from AICL, and it
mm,
was very interesting. Even to know how much
mm,
thought they give to the cover paper, the cover page, it is very interesting to know how they are coming up with this cover page. What was the thought? What is their, story of the year, and why this page is looking like this? Why these kind of logos or icons are being used? It's very creative side of it. And that was the time when I basically worked in a full-fledged report. So we not just a word file of it, basically a design version
integrated.
of the report.
Mm,
Yes, design
mm,
version of it.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Very interesting. So, uh, yeah, so basically all the beautiful reports that we see
Yeah.
the on all the top enterprises website, the final version of it was essentially what you learned and how much time is being spent on each and every aspect of the report to ensure that the stakeholders that you're trying to, the right message is communicated in a
Correct.
captivating way. So
Yeah.
very, very interesting. Then you went on to work with Tech Mahindra, right, where you
Yeah.
essentially worked on corporate sustainability, like, and where you spent around 1 year, 10 months, right, almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Uh, what was this engagement like? What was the job role in general? If you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay. So I was part of both the teams there. Tech Mahindra has two teams. There is a corporate sustainability team, of course, and then there is a sustainability offering team also. So this team's role is to basically provide services to the client, sustainability related services. So as a corporate sustainability person, my role was same, the materiality assessment, then JG accounting, then data management, then integrated report, CDP submission, DJSI submission, EcoVadis submission. So the whole year goes in a same fashion. However, in sustainable offering side, what I learned was very interesting for me, because that was the first time I was learning the technology side, or the different tools or techniques, or how the technology can intervene in sustainability, and it will be very easy for company to opt for it. So basically, Tech Mahindra has two, three platforms there are managed services there, and
Right.
they have their own products also. It was Sustain, Riskman, Green Finance.
Hmm.
So basically, these, for
Hmm.
example, Sustain is a ESG data management and reporting platform. So it will help client to to do the entire data management, mostly if your data is very unstructured. Secondly, if the volume is very, very high of your data, then if you have these kind of platform, it will help you to manage the entire data ecosystem. You can see the red flags from the dashboard and then report the data in alignment with any framework you want to opt for. So that was very interesting for me because that was the first time I was learning something, technology side. I learned few things like Gen AI, and I even prepared a green code refiner there, and I understood how even these technological systems have their own footprint, and how people are calculating these footprints also. So that is
Right.
that is the another part, and I think it was a very good experience because technology plus sustainability is a skill which is going to be very, very much in demand in few years. Of course, people
Right.
in other countries like Europe and USA, they are already picking it up very fastly. They are already have so many systems, mostly for supply chain, because so many suppliers, so many category of scope 3 and tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 suppliers, so they can reach out to everyone. They can have the evidence repository. It's very easy basically, and error free also, because
Right.
human error is possible if you are doing
There are
Excel
checks and
based.
balances and
Yeah,
everything.
yeah.
Hmm.
So this automation side is something I learned, and it was very interesting because in my entire career I was very much away from technology, and that was the first time I was, technology was imposed to me. You have to
Right.
learn it because now you are in Tech
Right.
Mahindra.
Right. 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 So in the sustainability offerings, you were essentially building a case for Tech Mahindra in front of their client for their technology-led sustainability offerings. Right. That's essentially what you were
Two
doing,
part
right?
was there. So basically, my major role was to build an innovative solution. That is why I was part of the team who were building these
Solutioning.
solutions.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the product team.
Hmm.
Sometimes I had to pitch to
Hmm.
client also, mostly if it is related to that product which I am building. So of course, I am the one
Hmm.
who has the functional expertise also. So that is why I was the one who was pitching to the client. But my major role was to build the innovative solution. So that is why I was part of that team, and mostly there are mostly IT professionals in that team, 2 3 ESG people.
Got it. Very interesting.
Mm.
So starting from 2013 up to Tech Mahindra in 2023, in 10 years, you were able to position yourself as like a senior ESG professional in the
Mm.
space, already had gathered more than 5 6 years of, core ESG experience. And now recently I see that you've moved to AJMS,
Yes.
which is in Dubai. So then that's exactly what I was talking about the last time we talked. You were you had moved to Dubai, I think just one day later, I think we were having the conversation.
Yeah.
So yeah, now that you are in Dubai, I think there is ESG is a global mandate in India. BRSR is the main driver of adopt like ESG adoption in India. And of course, those who have global clients and there can be other drivers as well. But what are you working as in AJMS? If you can talk a little bit about AJMS, what does AJMS do, and what kind of companies are you working with? Are they majorly in the Middle East, etc., etc.? If you can talk a
Yeah.
little bit about that, that would be
So
nice.
AJMS is again a consulting firm. They started as a management consulting.
Right.
Now they also provide solutions around sustainability consulting. So that is one thing. My projects again have the same basically skills like materiality, GHG accounting, reporting, data management, building a ESG ecosystem, and ESG governance, all these sort of things. Here, basically similar to India, like we had BRSR mandate. Similar to that, here in UAE, basically ADX and DFM. These are the two frameworks which are mandatory for the companies who are listed in these stock exchange. So that is one thing. Second is for the finance sector. There is a Central Bank of UAE, which is CB They have multiple requirements around sustainable finance and climate related risk and opportunities, and they are very fastly moving towards IFRS S1 and S2 requirements, so implementation, not even requirements, because that CBUA rule has many points from IFRS S1 S2. So that is why companies are moving towards IFRS S1 S2 adoption is something currently going on here in Dubai at least. So mandatory things are these three: ADX, DFM. Apart from this, people are of course going, or their reporting is either in accordance with GRI or with reference to GRI and SASB framework. Yeah, these are the things which are going on here.
Got it. And AGMS is now setting up the sustainability vertical, right? Or
No,
they
not
already had it
now.
for
They
a long
they
time.
already had it. Yeah, they already had it. Yeah.
Okay. Very nice. Very interesting. And the companies that you will essentially be working with, are these like large scale enterprises or are they mid-market companies?
It can be anything. Even big companies are part of, are there in AJMS portfolio. For example, Salik is a big name here in UAE. So they have done projects of Salik. There are multiple other companies. Mostly the banking sector, which is a BFSI sector, is picking up very fastly this ESG and sustainability requirements, only because there are mandates for them. And now that federal law has come for, they have made scope 1 and scope 2 also mandatory for,
Decree,
yeah, that federal decree law.
some climate decree. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Hmm.
law has made scope 1 and scope 2 mandatory for certain organizations. So that is why these three things are, it's very fastly, it's growing and people are adopting it also. So scope 1, 2 calculation. Apart from this, sustainable finance framework, which is, a regulatory requirement from CBUA. So all the banks, BFSI sector is picking up very fastly.
Wow. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
So, okay, very interesting. So I'm just trying to think of the reason behind this strategy. So is it because banking, financial institutions, they provide the capitals
Yes.
to a lot of different projects? Is that
Yes.
the reason?
Yes. So basically,
Got it. Got it.
COP28 and even UAE has made their net zero commitment by 2050. So now, after COP28,
Right.
they are now very much, coming up with new frameworks, making it mandatory
Hands-on.
making it mandatory for certain companies so that they can achieve to that goal. And sustainable finance or the banking sector is one of the sector. They have made this strategy for considering 6-7 sectors, and banking sector is one of them, because as you rightly said, because they are the one who is providing funds to the companies. So this should be, the fund should be sustainability linked loans or sustainability linked bonds. Basically, whatever fund they are giving to the companies, it should be used for a sustainability purpose, is something is coming from, it's like top to bottom approach, it's coming from the rulers.
Got it. Amazing. So I think on that note, uh, we have gone through a very uh, vibrant career that you've had,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I think um, and there is a lot to learn from your, especially the jump that you made to Vision 360, because a lot of our students are probably in that phase only, because a lot of them are mid-career professionals who want to make this switch happen, and hopefully from your story they would have gotten some inspiration. I'm
I
really
hope so.
sure. And yeah, and amazing, lovely talking to you, Priyanka. It
Thank you
was
so much.
uh, Great to know you, and hopefully we'll get to work with each other in some capacity. About Green Mentor, I'm sure you might know we are a full stack ESG company. So we provide ESG advisory, we provide an ESG platform, and then we have an academy through which we upskill people on
Hmm.
various aspects of ESG and sustainability. And since you're already working in ESG, maybe we'll get to work together in some capacity at a certain point in time. So
Definitely.
let's stay connected.